Are you thinking about moving to Frisco, Texas, and you're just not quite sure yet? You're thinking, what are the good things? What are the bad things? You just want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, today I'm going to tell y'all what my top 5 pros and cons are about living in Frisco and about moving to Frisco. And we're going to get started right now. Hi, thanks so much for coming back to my channel. I'm Rabbia and I'm a realtor in the Frisco area. If you're new to my channel, make sure you click that like button and hit that little bell so you get notified every single time I post a new video. And if you click the like button, it makes it so that other people that are looking for the same type things about Frisco, they can easily find the videos too, and it helps them out as well. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to reach me however is easiest for you. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, you can even FaceTime me if you want to. Whatever's easier for you, I'm good with any of that. Now let's get started so I can tell you what my top 5 pros and cons are of living in Texas and moving to Texas. Let's get started. Okay, let's start with the cons. So my number 5 for cons is the weather. It's really humid in Texas. Trust me, really humid. Like if you're flying here and you're just coming on a trip, the second you step off the plane, you're gonna feel that humidity. It just about smacks you in the face when you get off the plane. You're going to notice it for sure. I know people in other states are like, oh my gosh, it's so humid here. I have a friend in California and she was like, oh my gosh, it's so humid. And I said, no, y'all don't know what humidity is. Come to Texas and then you'll know humidity. Also, there's tornadoes. They're going to be here. You're going to go through one probably. You may have tornado warnings and tornado watches. There's also the warning on the first Wednesday of every month in Frisco. They do a warning and the sirens start going off. It's at noon. So be prepared, because the first time that happened here, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? So they tell it, you'll hear them talking. And the first time I heard it, I walked outside and I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And then one of my friend's moms on the softball team, she told me, she says, oh my gosh, I should have warned you that in North Texas, that's how it is. You're going to have those the first Wednesday of every month. So be prepared for that. Also, there are fire ants here. And fire ants, if you haven't seen them, they're huge and they bite really hard and they hurt. You can have big welts from the fire ants. It's not just like getting bit by a normal ant where it might, it's just a little bit. No, when you get bit by a fire ant, you know, because it really does hurt. You also have no-see-ums here. And what's a no-see-um? Just what it is. You don't see them. So you may be sitting outside and all of a sudden you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm like getting bitten. And you look down and there's nothing there, but you definitely got bitten because you can see little bites on your legs and on your arms and everything. Make sure if you're going outside, especially in the summertime, that you wear some kind of a bug protectant, a bug spray or something, because you're going to get the no-see-ums and you're going to get the mosquitoes too. And there's also June bugs here, and they're really, really gross. And you're going to find them, they buzz around and they fly, and you're going to find them all over your front porch when they're in season. And typically it's June, but you're going to see them, they're going to be all over the place. So if you don't like bugs, you don't like humidity, you don't like tornadoes, you may not want to move to Frisco. Now, my next con is the traffic. There is so much construction going on here that the traffic has just boomed, and there's more traffic now than ever before. I remember one time when I was driving here and the traffic was so bad, and I said, if I ever drive in California again, I will never, ever complain about the traffic in California. I thought it was bad there. It's even worse here. People on the freeway, a lot of times they don't even let you pull over. You can have your blinker on, but they don't slow down to let you merge into their lane. So my cousin told me, she goes, oh no, you don't put your blinker on. She goes, just move over. They'll slow down so that you can get over and move into their space. That's true. It does work. Trust me. Also, you have the tolls here. It seems like you have to take a toll no matter where you're going. You can take the side streets and like the access road next to the freeway, but then you have all the stoplights that you have to stop at. And so it really just adds time on. It's going to make your drive either 2 or 3 times longer than if you take the toll. Now with the tolls, you have a couple of different ways you can do it. You can do like a monthly where you put maybe say $100 in your account And every time you do the toll, they just take it out and then they send you a notice when it's time for you to add more money into your account. You can also do it just you pay as you go. So if you're thinking, I may not take the toll that much, I don't want to keep $100 on there, then you may just do the pay as you go and they'll bill you every time that you're going on the toll. So you put your card number on there and then they send you the notice saying, okay, it was $5.20 or whatever it is for that time that you're driving. But be prepared because there are lots of tolls and they're really throughout Texas. So even if you're traveling maybe from North Texas and you're going down to San Antonio, you're still going to hit tolls going there too. I think it's just more common up here in North Texas where you see more of the tolls. And like I said, just because there's so much construction going on, the traffic is just, doubling, tripling what it was maybe say 10 years ago. So much more construction going on, so more cars, more people, of course. You also have kids that are getting their license here, so you've got them on the roads as well. So, for every home, you may have 3 cars. So lots of traffic. Be prepared. Okay, my third con is development. Like I told y'all, there's a lot of new construction going up in Texas. There's still a lot of land, so you're still seeing the construction going on. It has slowed down the last few months, but it's still out there, so we're still getting that. Right now, there's more concrete out there than has ever been out here before. Before you were seeing lots of green, just tons of green. Now you are starting to see more concrete just because they're building more. And with all the development that's going on, the cost of housing has risen dramatically. So a lot of the lumber and maybe windows and just everything that they're using to build the houses, the cost of all of those supplies have gone up. So naturally, the cost of the homes have gone up. So what you might have paid 2 years ago, you're going to pay a lot more for it now because of the rising prices. And make sure if you're buying a new home and you put your deposit down, sometimes it's a hefty deposit. It can be 10 to 20% of the purchase price of your new home. Make sure you talk with the builder and find out what happens if you back out of the contract. Some developers, they will not give you your money back. So if you put 20% down and you decide to back out of that contract, some of them, you're not going to get that money back. And that could be, you could be talking $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 that you've put down. So it's a big chunk. So make sure if you're doing new development that you're checking with the builder and you're finding out what happens if you back out of your contract. Really, really important. And the number 2 con is the nightlife here. Basically, Frisco doesn't really have a nightlife. So if you're young, if you're in your 20s and you want to go out dancing or things like that, you're probably not going to get that here in Frisco. You're going to have to go to another big town. You probably have to go to Dallas, which is about 30 minutes away, or just any other bigger town around here where they're going to have more of a nightlife for you. There's a ton of new families and young families that are moving into Frisco. And so you're going to see things more geared towards that rather than the nightlife that, when you're in your 20s that you really want to go out and see. So that's something if you are in your 20s, 30s, whatever it is, and you want to be going out at night, make sure you look into which area you're going to move to so that you can make sure you won't be too far if you want to go out at night and do something and have some fun. And the number 1 con is the HOAs. Almost every community here in Frisco is going to have an HOA. So along with that HOA, you're going to have all the rules and regulations. Some of the HOAs, you're not allowed to park on the street at night, especially in a lot of the gated communities. So if you want to park your car in front of your house, you're not going to be able to do that. Some of the communities don't allow you to have, how people wrap their cars. They won't allow you to have that shown when you're inside the gated community. So be prepared that you would have to park in your garage. So you want to get a house that's big enough, maybe a 3-car garage, so that you can make sure you can get that car parked in there and it's not going to be outside so you don't end up getting a fine, because the HOAs will fine you. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll give you 1 warning and then they're going to send you the fine notice and you're going to have to pay the fine. And typically it's really hard to fight the HOA fines because they give you all the rules and regulations when you first are getting the home. And so in their defense, they feel that everybody should know the rules. So if you're buying into a community that has the HOA, make sure you know what those regulations are. And you can even ask your agent. If I'm your agent, ask me. I can get the copy of them ahead of time so that you can actually see them before you put an offer in. So that way you'll know if they're way too strict for you that you won't even want to look in that neighborhood, and then you'll look in a different neighborhood. The HOAs too, they're going to be able to tell you what you can do to the outside of your home, what colors you can paint it. Some of them even are very strict on landscaping. And some of them will say, well, you have to have a certain number of plants in front of your house, and you have to have a certain number of trees. And maybe there's a particular plant that they say, okay, you have to have this plant there, whether it's one or two, but they have those guidelines too. So some of them are strict on that. So again, just make sure you're checking on the HOA so you know all the rules and regulations before you get in there. So it's not like this big whammy you get hit with and you're like thrown off and you didn't even know what was going to happen. So, okay, I'll tell y'all again. The 5 cons, in my opinion, for Frisco. The first one is the weather. The second one is the development. Third, traffic. Fourth is the nightlife or lack thereof. And then the fifth is the HOAs. Now let's get ready and I'll tell y'all what my top 5 pros are for moving to Frisco. Okay, so the number 1 pro is the schools in Frisco. In my opinion, the schools in Frisco are excellent. That's the reason we moved to Frisco, was because the schools were so good. And so we had looked around and we just did not hear anything bad about the Frisco schools. There are a lot of schools in Frisco too. So that means much smaller classes. So the kids have more one-on-one attention with the teachers, and it helps them out a lot. The scores are higher as a result of that. Because the schools are smaller, that means more kids can play in the extracurricular activities. So you're going to have more kids that are going to be able to, get into football and baseball and soccer and softball and wrestling and all the other sports. They're just going to have a better chance of getting into that when they're in Frisco. Some of the school districts may have just one high school, like in Allen. And so it's going to be a lot tighter there if they're wanting to get into the extracurricular activities. The number 2 thing is the Star, and that's where the Cowboys have their practice field. It's really new and it is huge. It holds over 12,000 people when they're seated in there. It's an indoor stadium. The high schools even play their games there, which is really exciting because before they played, either at the high school or somewhere else. Now they can all play right there. So they have this amazing professional field that they're able to play the sports on now. When you go to the Star too, you can get guided tours there. It opened in about 2016 and they have so much there. They've got stores in there. They have kiosks. They have a lot of restaurants. They have a fitness center. So they have all kinds of things in there that you can go and explore and take a tour and see what's in there to see what things you want to partake in and then which things that you don't really care about. Now, the third one is the parks and recreation here in Frisco. There's over 50 parks, and you're going to find things from just a small little tot lots to these huge parks that have so much for people to do. You're going to have walking trails in there. You're going to have trails where you can ride your bike, where you can walk your dogs, little dog parks where the dogs can play. So you have everything from the really small parks to the really big community parks. And again, there are over 50 parks. That is amazing for a city of this size that you have that many parks. There's a lot of greenery and a lot of green in those areas just to get away from, the noise and the hustle and bustle. And if you just want to sit and relax, maybe sit by a stream, you just want to relax, get those cares out. You don't want to think about anything. Nice to go there, just sit back, observe. You can, if you're a people watcher, watch people, or if you just want to sit and read a book, have a picnic, lunch, whatever it is, you're going to find a park that is going to meet your needs and that you really like after you check out a lot of them. Now, number 2 is a safety. According to the crime data that's by Frisco EDC, Frisco is one of the safest cities in the nation to live in. The population is a little bit over 200,000. So you've got a lot of safety features here. Even in the schools, I was amazed at the schools. The high schools have one entry point during the day. So everything else is locked. So you have to come through that one entry point. Then you have to go through the office to even get into the school area where kids are going to be. So they're really going to vet you out, and they're going to see, why are you there? Do you need to be there? Before you can even get in. So that's a safety feature. You've got the security guards there who walk around, they patrol the area. And in the elementary and middle schools, once school starts, the doors are locked. So if somebody needs to come in, they're going to have to get buzzed in. So they're going to buzz through, then they're going to talk to whoever it is at the front office or whoever it is that they need to talk to. They're going to find out, why are they coming? What do they need? Do they have a reason to be there? Before they can even get through that locked door to come onto the campus. So that kind of makes parents feel a little bit safer, I think. At least it made me feel safer, because I knew once my kids were at school, they were going to be fairly safe. And if anybody was going to try and get in, it was going to be very, very difficult for them to get through there. And the number one thing is, Frisco's friendly. Texas is friendly. If you are from Texas, you love Texas, and no one can say anything bad about Texas. People are friendly. They're going to say hi to you. They're going to wave to you when you're walking down the street. You're not going to have everybody looking down going, I don't want to talk to anybody. They're going to maintain eye contact with you. They're going to smile, say hi, be super friendly. It's a nice feeling. It's not like some other states you go to where people don't look at you. They don't maintain eye contact. They do anything they can to avoid talking to you. The grocery stores here, get this, the baggers will still take your bags to your car for you, which I thought was pretty cool. I grew up in San Antonio, and so I was used to the baggers. They always took our bags to the car for us. When I went out to California, the very first time I went there, I went to the grocery store, bought my groceries, and I started to walk away after I paid for them. And it was a younger kid, and he said, "Oh, you're not from here, are you?" And I said, "No, I'm from Texas." And he said, "Oh, that's what I thought." And I said, "Why? Why do you think I'm not from here?" And he said, "Because we don't take your bags to the car for you." I was shocked, because I was just so used to it that I thought, oh, they do it everywhere. They must do it everywhere. But they still do it in Texas. So you're going to get that in Frisco. You're still going to get the checkers when the baggers, after they bag all your stuff, they're going to say, "Would you like me to help you to your car?" Sometimes they don't even ask you. They just start pushing your cart for you, and then they load your car up for you. It's a really nice thing. Texas is friendly. Okay, so in this video, we talked about the pros and cons for living in Frisco and moving to Frisco. So we talked about my top 5 on each of those. If you need to reach me, again, do whatever is the easiest for you. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, and like I said, FaceTime me, Skype me, whatever it is you want. We can do a Zoom meeting so that we can get to know each other. Again, whatever is easiest for you. And remember, if you hit that like button, it will help other people that are thinking about Frisco and don't really know about Frisco. It will help them start to find the videos so they can start to feel that they're more acquainted before they get to Frisco. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you next time.